Hi, guys, and welcome to the Edge of Consciousness. So, I'm here with my mentor of the last 20 years. He's taught me everything I know. Then there was the universe as well, that's taught me a bit, but this guy's got it going on. I'm delighted to introduce Mr. Don Hanson.
Hello. It's nice to meet you all. It's nice to see you all. Nice to be here with you, Ted.
Thank you. It's an absolute pleasure. So, we're talking about the conscious male. And in relation to that, we were just speaking there about charges, specifically sexual charges, but there's many different aspects to it, and what they are, and how we should be allowed to really play them out consciously. What's your feeling in relation to that, Don, in relation to being a conscious male?
Well, I think there's two approaches to life. One is that is of the recognition that we came here onto this planet to taste it all, to really learn about ourselves, to develop our soul, to learn how this planet works, to learn how our bodies work, to learn how to relate to other people, to educate ourselves in the ways of the world. And I think I've taken the approach all my life to give myself permission to play out my desire, to play out my unconsciousness, to play out my charges, to get it wrong, to do it wrong, in order to learn from it. I'm a person who learns through experience. Many people learn just through their intellect. They read something and they learn from that. I'm a person who learns from doing something, rubbing my nose in it, getting the feedback, and then growing from that. So my sense is that many of us have that approach. The other approach is playing it safe all your life, never risking, staying at home, not interacting with other people, never taking a chance, always playing it safe, taking the safe way. In my experience, those people never really live their life. They don't get the teachings and the lessons that one can get from breaking the rules, doing it wrong, living their life.
I think it's interesting when you said about in the body, and that's really, for me, where consciousness exists. You know, not that I have, it's the journey into the body and really been an observer consciousness in relation to what's happening in the body that really has allowed me to discover what serves me and what doesn't.
Yes, exactly. I think that our bodies are really a reflection of the universe. We're the microcosm of the macrocosm. And what's in the universe is inside of us. And we're really not separate. And so when one understands their own body and how it works energetically, you begin to understand how the universe works.
There's no separation.
There's no separation between us and all creation. We're a part of the creation on this planet. When we learn to listen to this energy, the language of energy, then we learn what the animals do. They also have an access to the language of energy, which is the universal language. It's something that we all understand, and it's something that we all have in common.
I think, and something that we have to deal with as males in the world is the really how we're set up. The structures we go through are really mental, and they're structured for competition. Not extremely little, if none at all, emotional intelligence gauged in our lives, or taught how to be emotional. Because when you look at little boys, they're just as emotional as girls, but yet by the time we reach adulthood, we might not have cried for a few years.
Yes, and I think that's really true. And I think as boys, we are taught to separate from our feelings. Not every boy. Some boys are very sensitive. But in general, we're taught to become tough. Our sports, many of our sports teach us to be very goal-oriented, to set ourselves aside and drive forward, even though we may be hurting ourselves. You see that in a lot of our sports like boxing, football. We can be out there injuring ourselves, but hey man, it's more important to be driven, go forward, and don't worry about the injuries, you know?
Go past your body.
You go past your body. You go past hurting yourself. That's the way we've been taught as warriors over many, many, many centuries. And, you know, us men we've been taught to be really tough. Protect our families, protect our children, protect our villages, protect our cities, whatever. And so we have sacrificed ourselves to protect our families for many, 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 many centuries. And in the process, we die early, we hurt ourselves, we have many injuries as we go older. That's kind of the old way, the old male. And right now, there's a whole new male that's starting to awaken and develop. And that's the male that is not so goal-oriented. It's a male that's connected to the feminine aspect of the universe, the feminine aspect of God, not just the patriarchal old male aspect of God. So there's many of us that are beginning to open up that feminine part of ourself that is very sensitive, that has a lot of feeling, with the recognition that our bodies are feeling bodies. As men, we couldn't afford to have feeling bodies. We were too much in conflict, too much in war, too much in struggling to survive. But nowadays, you know, we recognize that as men, we've played that out. We're kind of done with that. And the world has really only gone so far with that approach. We can only go so far in the world. We're going to end up not only destroying our own bodies, but destroying our body of affairs in the world. And that's kind of what's happening.
So in a way, our disconnection from our emotions has created a legacy that's destroying us in many aspects, whether
Yes.
it's our health, the planet,
Exactly.
society.
We've been so programmed to be so goal-oriented and make money and survive that we forgot to be sensitive. Many of us men are numb inside.
And really with the arts, you know, that was a question I was going to ask you, was what's the biggest task as a man to be conscious in the world? I feel it's to try and eliminate trying to understand energy and really
Yes.
knock off thinking. Try your best not to rationalize stuff because it really doesn't get us anywhere, and to focus on trying to feel.
Yes, I agree. And I know when I started the new conscious male process in my life, it was many years ago, I entered this community of 50 women and 3 men. And I took many hits from these very intelligent, powerful, conscious women who were very gently kind of showed me where I wasn't listening. And
That's the biggest one from men is,
It is.
learning to listen from our bodies.
we don't listen to our environment. We're so driven and goal-oriented that our children, our relationships can be talking to us, and we don't hear it. We don't hear what they're saying. And
We rationalize what they're saying in relation perhaps to their weaknesses and their emotional weaknesses.
yes, we see that as a sign of weakness.
Yeah.
We don't see that it may be the universe talking through these different forms and different bodies to us, trying to get our attention to slow down a little bit. So the first step, I think, in becoming a conscious male is learning the art of listening. Listening to our environment, listening to our relationships, listening to our body, listening to our intuition, learning to listen and let go of thinking that we're always right. Letting go of thinking that we know everything, that we know what's best. That's the old male. That energy is dead now. No longer is the universe supporting that kind of man. It's time that we have to learn how to listen. Listen to our environment. This planet is talking to us. The weather's talking to us. Climate change is talking to us. And the old male's not going to listen. It's stubborn. All of it's interested in is its own greed, making money, driving forward, and it's not listening. Well, that not listening is is the end of time. It's going to be the end of time. Yet, at the same time, there's many of us that are beginning to listen. And those many of us, we're going to rise above the old male. And we're starting to take care of our environment. But right now, it's about 50-50 in the world. There's those who listen, and there's those who don't. There's those who are, they feel that they come here as a service to the planet to help uplift the planet, to heal the planet, and there's those that are still greedy, stuck in the old male mindsets.
Running their own agenda in
Running their own
in
agenda.
relation to, and you see that it's kind of madness. It's basically insanity that we're seeing being
Yes.
played out
We see it all over
in
the
relation
planet
to that
right now.
denial,
Exactly.
which is in itself something really that people have to get beyond, is their own self-denial. In relation to what you talked about, you know, if you have to come, if you're going to go down the path of being a conscious man, you have to try not to understand, approach it with beginner's mind, and then it requires a lot of trust, because where we have been taught to really mistrust others, it's ingrained in our body, possibly only to trust ourselves. We then have to trust other people on the conscious path, and eliminate our mistrust, bypass the mistrust that is ingrained in our brains.
Yes. For those male form or female form, female body, male body, that don't trust other people, they put up a wall. They don't let other people in. And some people can put up many walls, even on the spiritual path or the path of consciousness. People can put up walls and start blocking what the universe may be saying through other people. And we have to listen.
Bringing the old world structure of the
Yeah.
mind that you know better
Yeah,
into spirituality.
The intelligence of the universe, which is a very alive intelligence, speaks through many forms. It speaks through animals, it speaks through nature, it speaks through other people. And the wise, healthy man listens. He can see and he listens.
And he's got enough dedication to his own spiritual path to eliminate what, at certain points, what you really can't hold on to being right if you're to move beyond your own ego, in a way.
Yeah, exactly. You know, he's graduated from his own ego, his own righteousness, and his own greed.